Hey guys, Zach here, coming at you with another video. So before I already get all the dislikes, being I'm talking about something negative about Paper Mario again, main reason I'm doing this is because, firstly, I don't have Paper Mario. Amazon is really slow for some reason, so I haven't gotten Paper Mario Origami King yet, so I can't play it for you guys yet. But I figured, rather than talking about the game and, talk about stuff I don't know, that everyone else knows now, I figured I'd go through the article that was released just yesterday that actually, I think, got Paper Mario on trending yesterday on Twitter. So this should be interesting to talk about. I'm basically going to do it paragraph by paragraph, basically that I'm going to read the question, the answer, and then respond to the kind of BS that some of these answers are. So, without any further ado, guys, let's get into the video. Paper Mario is a series that can't stand still. Flip through the Adventure meets RPG series' near 20-year history, and you'll discover a pattern of constant reinvention. One game involves switching between 2 and 3D planes, then another focuses on a totally different mechanic about collecting stickers or splashing paint, and now in Switch's The Origami King, spraying confetti and rotating strange spherical arenas is at the core of the game's design. According to Paper Mario's development team, the series' affection for reinvention is partly driven by a desire to motivate its development staff, some of whom have been working on the series since it began in 2001, but mostly it's thanks to a piece of sage advice from Nintendo's master creator. The philosophy of game creation that Mr. Tanabe learned from Mr. Miyamoto, and that in turn he imparted to me, is to challenge yourself to create new gameplay, Nintendo EPD's assistant producer Risa Tabata tells VGC. Games are entertainment, so I want the people who play our games to say, wow. My understanding is that we want to give the players these positive surprises. We can't do exactly the same thing that has been done before. The concept for the latest Paper Mario game was born up from this process of challenging the development team to try something new, Tabata explains. Working with Intelligent Systems, the partner studio behind the series, the two companies came up with the concept of origami and confetti, the core features of Origami King. According to the game director, Masahiko Nagaya, the process of turning the iconic characters of the Super Mario series into three-dimensional papercraft required a surprising amount of work, including creating mock-ups of each character using actual paper. In the Paper Mario series, we put a great emphasis on players being able to get a sense of texture and how things look, so of course we prepare actual materials for our reference, he explained. Having said that though, we're always trying new themes each time, so we don't prepare a massive quantity of any particular material to keep. We aim to get just the right amount of material we need each time, no more, no less. During its decades of reinvention, the Paper Mario series has adopted and dropped not just mechanics, but many tenets of the very genre it was born in. So basically, they say that they want to make each game different because they don't want to repeat and rinse the same exact thing each time. I do have a problem with that though. I feel like the only thing that really changes in the Paper Mario series, at least the recent ones, is really the battle system, right? The exploration is the same. It feels like throwing confetti is just like filling things in with paint from Color Splash. It really kind of feels like the same thing, almost, at least, again, from what I've seen. Besides, if we're going to talk about making Paper Mario an RPG again, that's not really rinse and repeating the formula. We haven't seen that formula of a real true-to-heart RPG since 2004, 2003. So, how is this rinsing and repeating something that's already been done before? I don't get it. It's been nearly 20 years since an RPG Paper Mario game? Like, I don't know. With that in mind, what we've done in the Paper Mario series is to put a lot of work particularly into the puzzle-solving elements of the games, so that they can be enjoyed by core users. This is a problem. Actually, we're going to get into that in a little bit. So, for example, in Paper Mario The Origami King, players need to guess the weak points of bosses based on their characteristics and search for the solution to defeat them, otherwise they won't be able to win these battles. This is an adventure game after all, so it wouldn't be right if the battles didn't also have some kind of puzzle-solving element. He adds, however, I do think it's difficult to satisfy certain fans with the adventure game direction if they think of Paper Mario games as simply being RPGs. I hope that everyone will play this game with an open mind. Yeah, I wonder why certain people think of Paper Mario as an RPG series. Mostly because it started off as an RPG, and even in Color Splash there are RPG elements. So I wonder why people think of Paper Mario as an RPG. Alright, so now we're going to get into the question and answer thing. So like I said, with each answer I'm going to give a response. So let's go with the first one. This year marks 20 years of Paper Mario. Does it get any easier to make games in a series you are so familiar with? Then Tanabe answered, I've already spent over 30 years in this industry. I've worked with many internal and external staff, And it's often the case that if they've been working on 3 consecutive titles in the same series, they want to work on something different for their next title. To be fair, the same is true for me too. It's sometimes hard to keep motivated if you're producing titles in the same series back to back. What we do to get around this, for example, or make a major change to a core system with the aim to create both a fresh team to tackle the title's production and bringing innovation to the series. This answer is not that bad because it makes sense. After working on a certain title for so long, you really get tired of it and you want to move on to something new, hence why Retro Studios originally wasn't working on Metroid Prime 4, and why they were working on something more like Donkey Kong Country. They wanted a new change of pace. So this answer is fine. Like, this is the perfect answer to that kind of question, because it's hard, you know, if you're making the same game over and over and over again, basically, or just keeping working on a series non-stop, it does get really tiring. So I can completely understand this answer. It's very noticeable that each new Paper Mario basically starts from scratch. You've done 2 in 3D flipping, Wii, stickers, 3DS, and paint, Wii U. But you always move on to a new idea. Why do you never return to the same idea twice, and what led you to origami this time? The philosophy of game creation that Mr. Tanabe learned from Mr. Miyamoto is that, okay, we already read this part. The idea for origami came out of this process of challenging myself to try something new. The theme running through Paper Mario series is paper. So I was working with Intelligent Systems to think of paper-based ideas that hadn't yet been used. Intelligent Systems suggested the idea of confetti, and I suggested the idea of origami. The combination of these 2 ideas is what led to our new game, Paper Mario: The Origami King. I have this image of Princess Peach suddenly appearing in front of Mario one day having been turned into origami. As soon as that idea popped in my head, I knew we were going to be able to create a Paper Mario game unlike any that came before. So this is one thing I don't understand, right? It says here that the theme running through the Paper Mario series is paper. Not always. The theme of paper came in Sticker Star. You see, Paper Mario's gimmick is paper. You know, the art style is paper, yes. But the theme of each individual game wasn't paper. Sure, there were little things in each game that reference the fact that Paper Mario is made out of paper, like being able to turn into a paper airplane, Thousand Year Door, etc., etc. But the whole gimmick of the game wasn't paper, wasn't arts and crafts. You see, this is one thing I don't quite understand. This market's already saturated now by Yoshi and even Kirby in some instances. So why does Paper Mario need to rely so heavily on the arts and crafts gimmick? And why not just try something different, something new? You see, they never want to go to the same idea twice, but by going to this paper idea, this paper craft idea, they are doing the very thing they said they don't want to do. Yes, paint is different than stickers, which is different than origami. But at the end of the day, it's all about arts and crafts. It's all about paper. It's all about, you know, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, it is the very same idea. Whereas with older Paper Mario games, I'm going to talk about the first 3, they each had a different story, different things, different mechanics, different characters. It was always different. So yes, the RPG elements were the same, but there was so much other stuff that was different. Whereas in the new Paper Mario games, it seems like everything else is basically thematically the same, but the battle system's different. So I don't get, this point doesn't make sense to me. The most recent Paper Mario games were criticized by some for a perceived simplification in both story and battles compared to past games. Were you aware of fan concern, and did you seek to address it within the Switch version? I do look through the opinions of fans once a game is released, as there are cases where I can't address these opinions exactly as fans want. I try to challenge myself to other new, fun ideas. What I always keep in mind, though, is to do as much as I can so that players can enjoy new and unique game experiences. I'm confident that if you play Paper Mario: The Origami King, you'll understand just how many ideas we've managed to pack into the game. So he really didn't answer the question here. The question was, how do you seek to address fan concerns? And his answer was, new stuff. We're going to add new stuff. And to me, that's kind of a weak answer. Why would you want to change something that fans of the series want to see return? He says he looks at the criticisms, and great, all game developers and publishers should look at criticisms, not just review scores from reviewers. They should also look at what the fans are saying, what the actual players who are buying this game for $60, they should listen to what they are saying. So he said he can't address opinions exactly as fans want. He doesn't exactly go into why he can't address those. So he does later with some aspects, but not all of them. So I don't like this answer. It's avoiding the question in a lot of regards, and giving an answer that's kind of a repeat of the question before it, saying we want to give you new ideas, and like I said, there really aren't that many new things that looks like on the table. But again, haven't played the game, so I can't speak too much, but from people I know who are playing the game, it does kind of seem that way, but I'll have to see. Is it difficult to find a balance that pleases all Paper Mario fans, particularly hardcore players who want more RPG elements such as experience points versus more casual players looking for an approachable experience? First, Nintendo's philosophy on game creation is that we don't ignore casual players in creating our games. This is also true for gamers such as those in the Metroid Prime series, games that at a first glance look like they're only aimed to core players. With that in mind, what we've done in the Paper Mario series is to put a lot of work, particularly into the puzzle-solving elements of the games, so that they can be enjoyed by core users. And core users, by the way, is their way of saying casual players. So for example, in Paper Mario the Origami King, players need to guess the weak points on the bosses based on their characteristics and search for the solution to defeat them, otherwise they won't be able to win these battles. We read that already. This is an adventure game after all, so it wouldn't be right if the battles didn't have some kind of puzzle solving element. Of course, we've also added in a system for casual players to where they can use coins in battle to get help from spectating Toads. However, I do think it's difficult to satisfy certain fans with the adventure game direction if they think of Paper Mario games as simply being RPGs. I hope that everyone will play this game with an open mind. This is where I have a problem with this. By the way, let me add here, Kensuke Tanabe was also the head director and producer, or not director, I think he was the producer or something. He was a main part of the team for Luigi's Mansion 3. Remember when I said months and months and months ago about Luigi's Mansion 3 that they were definitely aiming more at a casual audience and weren't really suiting a lot to Luigi's Mansion fans? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what they really are saying here, that we can't really address what the fans want, but we really need to aim for that core casual audience who aren't into the Paper Mario series. We want to get them into the Paper Mario series by simplifying it. So we're going to simplify it down so that new players can come in, but we're not really going to address a lot of the issues that fans of the RPG Paper Mario series want. That's one of my main problems with this, right? Is that they literally said themselves they are aiming a lot at the core casual audience. That's basically what they're saying here. And I just don't like that. A series should be individualized. It shouldn't be simplified so that everyone will like it. Because guess what? Not everyone will like every game. Each game needs to play to its own strengths. Paper Mario was a very quirky, fun RPG with uniquely designed characters with unique personalities. Here, they stripped away a lot of that in terms of making it feel more like an actual Mario game so that more people will buy it. And that's where my problem lies. Luigi's Mansion, they made it more goofy and more funny and more quirky. They made the ghosts more like minions so that the kids will look at it and be like, wow, this looks funny, this looks cool. They make it more generalized so that more people will play it, which usually isn't a bad idea. You know, making it so that a game is more appealable to people, that's not inherently a bad idea. But by changing the fundamentals of what made that game great in the first place, that's where I have the issues. You're now changing what made the game great in the first place by making this experience that's more akin to people who aren't fans of the series. Anyways, let's move on. How hard was it to build these iconic heroes as origami models? Did you build them in real life to get to the final designs? Is the studio full of art and craft materials? Even though the characters have turned into origami, we had to ensure that you could clearly identify which characters the origami versions were based on. In turning them into origami, our character artists worked with each individual character to analyze whether a side-on or front view would be best to bring out their individuality. After that, we created mock-ups of the characters using actual paper in order to draw out the elements that make the characters look origami-like and form rules that would be used as a foundation for all the origami characters. As we have the characters performing actions in the game, to a certain extent, we also needed their models to take on unrealistic shapes and forms, but we did have our artists take care to find the right balance in that respect. In the Paper Mario series, we put great emphasis on players being able to get a sense of texture from how things look. So of course we prepared actual materials for our reference. Having said that though, we're always trying new themes each time, so we don't prepare a massive quantity of any particular material to keep. We aim to get just the right amount of material we need each time, no more, no less. This answer's fine. You know, it's actually really cool that they use materials and actually make the characters. you know, out of paper, out of, you know, whatever they need to get the inspiration to use it in game. That's actually really cool and I think pretty innovative. You know, obviously there's a lot of concept art out there. People make concept art for video games. But here they're actually making concept origami, concept, like, you know, like little pieces of paper. That's pretty cool. Like, I'll give them complete credit for that. That's pretty cool. Paper Mario is known as the comedic Mario series. Comedy can be very difficult to get right. How do you decide on what makes the cut? First of all, I don't use any ideas that go against what's considered appropriate for the times. I also don't use ideas that are too much of a twist and are difficult to understand. Instead, I aim to pick ideas that are understandable all around the world. In Paper Mario Sticker Star, we aim for a more surreal kind of humor. So we purposely used things that would create an odd experience that wasn't just to get laughs though, it was also to make use of improvements in this hardware. I don't really know how to respond to this question. I mean, the humor's always kind of been good in Paper Mario games, like even in Origami King from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. So I can't say too much here. How do you make sure the story appeals to a broad audience, and what challenges exist within the Mario franchise presented to your writers? In Super Paper Mario, the elaborate story led the game away from the Mario universe, so since Paper Mario Sticker Star, I've refrained from using stories that are too complicated. Personally though, I like games with stories. During the production of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, we made use of a system for character settings and real conversations in order to build the story, which was a first for a game in the series. I also wrote the text for this game. To go back to Mario, in Paper Mario Color Splash, I avoided having a complicated story so as not to veer too far away from the Mario universe, and instead aimed for a game of more memorable events. To create even more memorable experiences for the players in Paper Mario the Origami King, we've established some characters other than the partner character who will also journey with players through the game. In particular, I think that Bob-omb, has turned out to be just as memorable as a character as Olivia. This is where I have a problem, right? Super Paper Mario had too complicated of a story. Listen, I haven't played Super Paper Mario in years, so maybe I'm misguided on this one. But from what I remember, Super Paper Mario had a really interesting story where there's Mr. L. Like, there is so many. I don't get it. By simplifying the story, you're basically taking away a lot of the story. Like, now it's just, Origami King's gonna turn everyone to origami. Mario needs to save the day. And of course, yes, the characters are very important to have backstory. But if it's just the characters having backstory without that world getting any backstory, it really takes away from the story. I just think it's a shame that they really want to take away any uniqueness from the game. There's no unique story because it will feel too outside of the Mario universe. Who cares if it feels outside of the Mario universe? Look at Mario Odyssey. There were worlds in that game where you're like, this doesn't feel like it's in the Mushroom Kingdom. This doesn't feel like a Mario world. Exactly. Luigi's Mansion 3. That's a hotel that doesn't really feel like it's part of the Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe it's because it's not part of the Mushroom Kingdom? It's outside of the Mushroom Kingdom? It's not part of the Mario universe? I mean, obviously it is part of the Mario universe, but you make the world part of the Mario universe. You don't just say, this looks too far out, now we'll throw it away. No, integrate it. Make it feel part of the Mario universe. Throw in favorite characters in there. You know, make a story out of it. The WarioWare games. You know, you look at that city in WarioWare and you're like, it's not part of the Mushroom Kingdom. Obviously it is because, you know, Wario's living there. So I think the excuse of veering too far from the Mario universe is such a crappy excuse. There are so many Mario games, and recently, by the way, because I usually refer to Color Splash onwards when it comes to this thing. Color Splash came out, or sorry, not Color Splash, Sticker Star. Sticker Star came out in like 2013, maybe 2013, 2014, probably 2013. So if you can think of games from 2013 onwards, which is basically early Wii U onwards, that basically are Mario games that don't feel like they're part of the Mushroom Kingdom, or don't feel like they're a part of the Mario universe, let me know. Even Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon falls in that category then. I mean, I'm just saying, that's just ridiculous. Mario is famous for its iconic cast of villains. Can you talk about the new villain in this game and how you design a character to stand alongside all-time greats like Bowser and Kamek? Since Paper Mario Sticker Star, it's no longer possible to modify Mario characters or to create original characters that touch on the Mario universe. That means that if we aren't using Mario characters for bosses, we need to create original characters with designs that don't involve the Mario universe at all, like the ones we've done with Ollie and the stationary bosses. Whether a character becomes an all-time hit or not, it's up isn't up to us on the development side. I think it's more the case of the characters that fans truly accept naturally end up that way. I hope that the Origami siblings in Paper Mario the Origami King will stay in players' memories, even if they do only end up appearing in this title. Another thing. Since Paper Mario Sticker Star, it's no longer possible to modify Mario characters or to create original characters that touch on the Mario universe. So that's their way of saying characters like Goombella, you know, any characters that are Mario enemies or Mario characters that are modified to look unique, no longer possible. This is one thing I wonder. Is this restriction only on the Paper Mario series? Because literally, in Mario Odyssey, you modify any single enemy you come across. You put a mustache and a hat. Does that count as modifying, or is that exception from the rule? Like, this is what I don't understand. You're not allowed to modify characters or to create original characters that modify original existing characters. Why is this? Why can't you do that? You can create individual personalities for these characters, but you can't create an individualized look. And from what I've seen in the game, there are characters that do look unique, that are modified versions of existing Mario characters. So why does this rule not apply to these characters, but apply to partner characters or whatever? That just blows my mind. Like, that's pathetic, in my opinion. Like, yes, Ollie and Olivia are cool looking characters. I like them. But the stationary bosses, there was literally nothing else you could have done besides create colored pencils, tape, or there's nothing else you could have thought of that was a little more unique. I don't get it. Alright guys, I looked at the last two questions. There's really nothing for me to address with those two. I want to end it there. Look, this is my main problem, right? My main problem isn't that Paper Mario isn't good. I mean, that is a lot of the problem for me, is that I don't think Paper Mario is as charming as it once was. And if they gave a good explanation as to why that is, then I'd be like, okay, whatever. There's nothing we can do about it. But here, the answers they gave seem very two-dimensional. Like, it's like, oh, we just can't do this because we're not allowed to, or we can't do this because we can't. And a lot of those answers were objectively wrong with other Mario games. So if this is applied just to Paper Mario, that's a stupid limitation to put on Paper Mario. But to me, what makes me mad is the generalization of the game, how it has to appeal to everybody. It's got to have a core casual audience that can look at it and be like, yeah, we can pick it up and play it. Not every game needs to do that. They did that with Luigi's Mansion, like I said. It's made for casual players now. There's no, like, that's what the slam was added for. There's no strategy, or there's not strategy, that's not the right word. There's no effort with the combat. All you have to do is tap the A button after a while. You know, it's the same exact thing. And I think that will be the downfall of Nintendo, to be honest. Turning all of their games into completely different experiences to appeal to a casual crowd. Imagine if they changed a game like Donkey Kong Country, for example, right? Donkey Kong Country, especially Tropical Freeze, was known for its harder difficulty, right? Imagine if the next Donkey Kong game, oh, you can't make it too hard. Nah, you gotta make it simple. You gotta make it really easy. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, this is the second game. Like, Mario Party, they changed it, whatever. That's its own separate issue for me. But here, it's like, we're going to change it, but we're going to change it because we can't use unique Mario design, or we can't use unique design Mario characters, even though they have in other games. We can't modify existing Mario characters, even though they have in other games. And we don't want the game to be the same every single time, even though it kind of is with the papercraft stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments down below. To me, this is just, I mean, I'm still going to get the game just to try it out. But I'm hearing things, you know, from people who are like me. So, maybe. But, I mean, like I said, this was trending on Twitter for how ridiculous this article was. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.